So you want to know about Dutch friendships and relationships, huh? So that you're ready to meet the right people when you get here. The first thing I can tell you about Dutch relationships is be comfortable with the fact that they'll take a while to get to know you. First, you'll meet the person they project to the outside world. The put together, cool, really nice, but very standoffish, minds their own business, is more studying you, more inquisitive, asking questions about you, hearing a bit about you with no commentary, and then just keeping to themselves. But as you get to know them, that exterior cracks and you get to see a lot more of their opinions, their ideas, what they care about, and really there's a lot of meaningful space for friendships here when you meet someone. It's just you have to get used to that it's a step-by-step process. And that makes sense. In our cultures, at least in my culture as an Egyptian, sometimes there's this immediate intensity with friendships. And there's this, maybe this perceived fakeness that comes from, let's say, the American way of doing things, which I am quite connected to and have been accused of being really nice. But that niceness can be seen as fake or disingenuous. The Dutch people don't want to, they're polite, but they don't try to be overly nice to you. And they think that that just doesn't make sense because I don't know you. Why would I be nice to you? And that really used to bother me, but I've gotten used to it now. And I realized that every friendship I have with the Dutch person is genuine and they really took time to make that effort. But there's also an awesome side to being friends with a Dutch person. They are very, very dependable and practical. So as an international who does not know what the hell is happening here, who's struggling with the paperwork, trying to figure out your water bill, your electricity, your internet, all of those different practicalities that we need to take care of, a Dutchie is your best friend because they probably know the best health insurance to get, the best packages, and can negotiate on your behalf in Dutch. And most of my friends are pretty happy to do that, especially when you've tried it and really don't know what to do. Everyone can get really supportive once you get to know them. And I've really had a lot of help. For example, if I had a problem with my doctor because they weren't taking me as seriously, to bring in one of my Dutch friends to sort of talk to them in Dutch and make them feel like there's someone in my corner. So if you're really looking for that kind of friend who's gonna very practically support you, sort of the Virgos in our lives, a Dutchie is your best bet. Something that takes me off guard, but honestly was a bit offended by at the beginning, was how critical your Dutch friends can be of you. As fun as they can be sometimes, and as helpful as they can be with the practical side of things, Dutch people are also, like I said before, no nonsense. So your Dutch friend will reflect back to you some things you don't like. And if you do something that bothers them, they'll be upfront with you. That's really great when like dealing with drama, because they'll make sure there's no drama right away and they're very clear with how they feel about things. But also if you come from cultures where people are a bit more, let's move around this, or I'm not gonna tell you this thing that bothers me because you're my friend and I care about you, and I'm not gonna really talk about your triggering behavior because I want to spare your feelings. That's not how it is with Dutch people. But on the other hand, I think that's good for all of us to have accountability and to be aware and to be like, these are my issues and I need to work on them. And a Dutch friend will certainly tell you if they see something you're struggling with when it comes to dealing with people, or if you offended them in some way. I think there was a good example with a friend of mine where in my culture, a lot of people tend to talk about themselves and interpret that as an invitation for the other person to tell you about himself, where it's more communicative dialogue here, where everyone asks questions back and forth. Where I'm from is just, I'm telling you about my life, so you can also tell me about your life, and that's sort of implied. While here, really, it's about the intention and asking questions. And I didn't know that at the beginning, and that made me come off maybe a bit self-absorbed. Because I just shared about my life, and I assume people understood if I was sharing with you, then I expect you to be okay with sharing as well, or at least I'm showing you that I'd be interested to hear about your life. But that was an assumption that I had to let go of, and that's also about something else you need to learn here, letting go of all your assumptions, because wherever you come from, even similar countries in Western Europe, There will be some degree of adaptation, and every group of people is different. So just be ready to jump into that and deal with that. Now, if you really like this content, please don't hesitate to click that little bell and click subscribe so that we can appease the YouTube gods and I can hopefully make more fun content for you. Now, here's a fun one for all you debaters out there. If you like to discuss topics, Dutch people are the people for you. If you're really friends, you could go all out and talk about a topic of like challenges that people face or sociological elements, especially at least in my environment where people are a lot more highly educated. There's a lot of that space for boom, 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 exchanging theory, debating ideas. That said, be ready to put up a fight because people will fight you till the end here when it comes to what they believe in. And be ready for that sharpness and that directness, and that it might get quite heated, but for me, it's all in good fun. And you know, you get to know people, you discuss their ideas, and sometimes you disagree, and that's okay. Not every friendship is built on perfect agreement. Something else to be aware of is the fact that the Dutch people aren't the most outwardly emotional people you'll ever meet. So basically where I'm from, like I said, I personally have a theatrical piece to me. It's also a big thing in my culture and also in Southern Europe. So the saying here is the more south you go, the more hot-blooded people are and open and passionate about their emotions. Dutch people will tend to be a bit more neutral. There's this sort of neutral space where they interact from. That doesn't mean they will not show emotion. Sometimes there are quite a few intense emotions, but it's only when the situation really warrants for it. Like it's a really special day for someone or their wedding or something. Otherwise, there's this neutrality, but please don't confuse that neutrality with not caring, because they are really quite kind and quite caring people. They're just looking to invest their energy in certain amounts, and that's okay. Not everyone has to be 100% on all the time. Something that's really, really helpful if you want to get to know more Dutch people is actually start trying to learn Dutch. I feel like, at least for me, when I wasn't sure if I was going to stay here or not, or if life here was the right life for me, I really had a bit of a resistance against learning Dutch because I was like, how helpful is this language going to be to me outside the Benelux area, for example? But I really noticed the difference once you start learning Dutch and people feel like you're really willing to make that effort. They'll start interacting with you more deeply because they see how hard you want to be part of their communities and part of their societies. So it's really about offering up a part of yourself and being like, hey, I'm really trying to learn, I'm really trying to be a part of this community, and they'll open up and really embrace you. If you like videos about Dutch culture, please feel free to check out any of my culture shock videos, which you can see on this side, I think. Let's see. I'll see you there.